Just want to do a quick walk around video of the new Cyclekart that I'm building. We're calling this the Kiwi Special. We're calling it the Kiwi Special because it's based on a handmade New Zealand cycle car. There's only one photograph of a gentleman in a bowler cap sitting in it, and it's just a side profile. And that's what I've based all of my work on. My Cyclekart doesn't quite exactly fit the profile of the original car because of the constraints of scaling it down for a person to fit in. And we're pretty snug fitting in it. But it's coming along nicely. I think it'll be kind of a unique addition to the combined fleet that everyone has. Now, let me show you a little bit about it. So for the frame, we're going to go look up inside here. For the frame, not sure if you can see, it's difficult to see, but it's basically a single 10-foot ladder. So a 10-foot aluminum ladder. We basically laid it down on the ground, opened it up so the legs were out about 10 inches at the feet, riveted it so that it wouldn't move, and then we riveted this yellow aluminum to it, and then took ratchet straps and just wrapped it around the ladder. And like, it was maximum ratchet straps. Probably took me 8 or 10 of them, like full pressure to get them sealed up. And then what I did is, as soon as I got it all buttoned up, you can see here I've got a line of rivets that's holding all that together. So that created that, like, what almost looks like a belly tank type design. So that's how the body was created. So the front end is a individual assembly that I built that bolts to the front of that ladder, and the back is again a second assembly that holds the motor and the axle that bolts to the back of that ladder. We put the fenders on, which the fenders, they're kind of a unique construction as well. If you look here, you can see those are bicycle rims. So the cheap bicycles from like Walmart have steel rims. Not great for a bicycle because they're heavy, but they're great for this because I can weld them. So it goes down this way, and then there's a little piece that kind of turns back the other way, and then it's got these pieces that are just off an old IKEA portable bed frame, basically. So that creates the fenders. Same thing in the back. You can see here, this is actually an aluminum one. But that's a bicycle rim that made just the perfect size for those rear fenders. And that's the larger bicycle wheel. That's going to be the 17.5, I believe, wheel. And it just created a perfect radius for creating those fenders. As far as up inside for the running gear, again, it's just a ladder in there, but I put wooden, just thin, it's like 3/16 plywood off of an old crate, I believe. I bought it at a woodworking store. It was on the $2 bin outside. This is there from the crates. And that's the kind of the sides in there that give it a little more polished look. I built the wooden floor there because with the rounded bottom, your feet would slide to the middle, and then it was just weird. If you look down in there farther, see I got my gas and my brake. Got the windshield here, which is just a little piece of plexiglass, but again, kind of keeping in the theme of these things. If you look down in here, there's yet another piece of a bicycle rim, and that bicycle rim created just that perfect radius on the plexiglass to make that windshield. And then you can see here, it's actually, let me come around a little bit, show you. I'm still building this, so it's still a work in progress, but you can see here that's kind of coming off, but that's just a medical oxygen mask hose that I've worked around there, and I need to glue it, but It gives a kind of a lip on that windshield, and then this is just that metallized tape that they use for doing air conditioning. Up in the front, this piece is both just Home Depot flashing. I bought a roll of it and was able to create those. And then it was very sharp, and I kept cutting my leg on it. So right here, I just did this the other day. I epoxied on this tip, and this is actually a little, it's metal. It's a little metal formed tip that was off of a candlestick holder from the thrift shop. And I cut the lip off around it until it was just smooth and epoxied it on there, and now it's very nice. Show you the front assembly a little bit. So the Inspiration car does not have suspension at all. And of course I wish to have suspension, but I didn't want to kind of detract from the more sparse looking front end that the original car has. So what I've done, I'm going to lay on the ground here to show you. It's got 2 coil-over shocks basically under this thing. Like you can see them right there, the 2 of them. And if you follow back there, you may recognize that kind of round-looking piece of aluminum back there, because that's an old TAV. So I had an old TAV that I used the flat piece of it to be the carriage for this whole assembly. And basically, if you look right there, you'll see there's a bearing coming out of that TAV. And what I have is I have a spindle off of a side-by-side bolted into that TAV, so that basically I got the equivalent of an axle kind of sticking out the face of it. And I have this whole assembly bolted to that. And what that does, that allows my whole front end to rock left-right. So I can lift up one wheel or lift up the other wheel, and it allows the whole assembly to kind of rotate. So it can rotate like this. And what keeps it from going too far is it has, see those little rubber motor mounts, or not rubber motor mount, but right behind that yellow piece there's a 1 inch thick by 4 inches long rubber that's a exhaust rubber, and I got one on each side, and so it can flex like I was saying. It can rotate, but it can only rotate as it stretches those, and so it's not very much, but it's enough to let the suspension move. So it can go this way because it has that, and then it can go up down because it has the 2 shocks. And I'll show you here. Try to get it where you can see. Like there's a little bit of suspension. It's not a ton of suspension, but a little bit. The back is solid with no suspension at all. Inside for the seat, got some, it's fake leather that we took off an old recliner that we had, and I think it's going to turn out nice. I built these little handrests, and they're just hot glued to some foam pad. Right here, that's my motor on-off kill switch. Over here, I've put a button for a horn, but I haven't yet built an electrical system for this, so that's still something to come in the future. Now let's talk about the back. Everybody asks about this motor that's back here. It looks like kind of like a 3-piston engine of some kind. It's actually all fake. The real engine, if you look, there's the real engine right below it, and there's the real engine right there. Everything else is just parts I've added. So let me point out to you what I've got here. So you can see this exhaust line. That's just plumbing pipe. I've wrapped tinfoil around it, and then I've tied it with copper wire that I pulled out of an old motor, like that old motor winding motor material. And then I left this, I was gonna sand it off, but I left it for this video. That's just a Rockstar can, or an energy drink can from an energy drink a long time ago. It's a thicker one though. It's not a thin can. You can't squeeze it, so it's kind of cool. And then down here, like there's no hole in that thing, but I had that little piece of mesh. I don't know what it came off of. I think it came off a four-wheeler, but anyway, I just put it in there with those 4 screws and it looks pretty cool. As for the gas tank, I used this water bottle. And this is one of those vacuum thermoses. And so you lose a lot of volume with a vacuum thermos. But what I did, I don't know if you can see it because it's got gas in it. Yeah, you'll be able to see it. See the bottom there? Got a bunch of holes punched in it. And then it's also got, if you look right there, there's a hole punched at the top. What that does, it lets that whole vacuum chamber area also fill with gas. So now you've got the whole volume of the container that can be gasoline. And it makes a cool looking kind of bespoke gas tank. It's all stainless. So far it works great. As far as this motor goes, this front piece, just an old lawnmower motor. And then this would have been where the shaft of the lawnmower was coming out. And I just bolted another lawnmower head to it to create that kind of V shape. And then I positioned it directly over the real motor so it would look like a 3-piston motor. And I just added this today. This is actually an old air compressor, but it just gives it a little more just visual pop for looking like a 3-cylinder engine. And it's all just made of junk, so these cool looking lines are just out of old sinks or dishwashers. This is old Cat 3 or Cat 5 wire that we used to have for the Ethernet. I made these. That's just a piece of old rubber tubing. Hot glued it in there, and on top of it I glued a little piece of old inner tube, and it creates that plug. Now, eventually maybe I'll get some real plugs to go on there, because they do, the real ones look really cool. But that's what I've done so far there. And then on the other side, that's kind of this cool Art Deco looking thing. That's an old projector, little box the projector would fold up inside of it. I took it apart, cut the pieces to make that shape, riveted it all together to create the kind of that Art Deco appearance of the chain guard. And if you was to look under there, you'd see that's right where the TAV is located. And then where the motor is, it's the fake motor directly over the real motor, but it comes out with, there's 1 screw right there. And then you can see here, these guys, there's 3 on each side. And that's all it takes, and this whole fake motor lifts off with that front plate and exposes the real motor. So within just like 2 minutes, you can get into a position where you can do the maintenance and mechanic work that would be necessary to work on the real engine. So anyway, that's the Kiwi Special. I guess one other thing I'll mention, the wheels, every one of my 4 wheels are different. I just went on Facebook Marketplace, looked for 17-inch wheels, and I bought what I could find. And these are all basically 17-inch KTM wheels. This one actually came off a wheelchair. So I think it was originally a motorcycle wheel, but the guy I bought it from was in a wheelchair, and he told me he had this kind of a mountaineering wheelchair that he was taking apart and selling the pieces for. And it had been reamed out so for different kind of bearings, and so nobody with motorcycles would want it, but it worked perfectly for me because this is my driven wheel. So I just machined a bushing to go on the inside side that just aligns the back side of the wheel to the shaft, and then I put the keyed in axle, what do you want to call it, hubs. Just put them on backwards and bolted it right to where the brake would go on that motorcycle wheel, and it worked perfectly. On the other side, now this one did not have the bearing problem, but since this is my freewheeling wheel, what I did is I found a piece of tubing out of my old trampoline. My kids don't trampoline anymore, so I have all this tubing back there. One of those tubings fit perfectly over the shaft, and I mean like perfectly. So I just machined some shims that would fit tightly onto that tubing, and then into the wheel. So the wheel is basically shimmed onto that piece of tubing. I put a little bit of grease and I assembled it on there so that there's no bearing. It's just got that piece of old tubing running right on the axle. And I put a little grease there. It'll last a long time. Worked perfectly. On the front, I was able to buy bearings that match the spindles. Let me take a minute and talk about the spindles, because I had a lesson that I learned here. I originally bought these spindles as go-kart spindles off of Amazon. And when I bought them, this was straight up and down, and this was straight out. And I know you're supposed to worry about caster and all these different things, but I thought, I don't know how much difference that really makes. So I just welded them on there straight, and about a week or so ago, I took it out for a little drive, the first drive that we really were able to take with it, and it steered so badly, I was just kind of almost afraid to let my daughter give it a go. I mean, I did let her drive it, but it was like very slowly, because it made a huge difference. It was unsteady. It would want to kind of drift to the left and drift to the right, and in kind of a jerky pattern, and it wouldn't track really well around corners. So I got to do something about this. So what I ended up doing is I cut this piece here out, bent this up until I got right here I think it turned out to be 14-degree angle. So now this is leaning out at a 14-degree angle, and welded it back together. Well, when I did that, then now this guy's, of course, laying up like this. So then when I did, I cut down with a hacksaw like 2/3 of the way, and then I took a hammer and just bashed it down until I got the perfect angle. And I actually cut a little piece of paper that would go here to here that had that 14-degree angle, and it got it just perfect. I took my grinder, I opened up a little V there, and then I just carefully, one layer at a time, I welded that back on. I did that on both sides. So you got this one over here too, and you definitely can kind of see the geometry there. That changed the steering dramatically. So I would say, if I'm giving advice to a new Cyclekart builder, is take that very seriously. If you do this right, I'm gonna come back up here. If you do this right, the idea is if you could draw an imaginary line that would go all the way through this, it should aim right through here, and this thing should point right at the ground where the wheel touches the ground. That's the goal. So you got this one coming down a 14-degree angle. It's also, I don't know if you can see this, but it's also rocked back, I think, 7 degrees. So it's rocked back 7 degrees. It's out 14 degrees. And what that does is, when you turn, when the wheel turns, when it turns away, like the front of the wheel's turning away, it causes it to kind of lean back, and it causes the other one to lean in. And that lets the car track when you turn. So you really want that. You want to take like the extra energy to make that happen. It's well worth your effort. So kind of a rambling video, but that's our Kiwi Special. I still have a lot left to do. I'm getting close to what I would call an almost completed assembly, but just like everyone else, as I'm going, I'm kind of winging and flinging, and sometimes something works and something doesn't. Now that I'm getting close to done, I'm at a point where I almost need to completely disassemble it down to the basic parts, and then put it back together with Loctite, and also paint it. We're considering painting it British racing green with pinstripes. The inspiration car photo shows it with pinstripes, and I think that would be a good faithful reproduction. There'll be more videos to come, but I live in Phoenix. It was 115 today. I waited just till sunset to come out and do this. It's still like 105, so that's why I haven't done this very much. Anyway, leave a comment. Be interested in what you think. Thank you.